But I thought that we could chat, you could ask questions. I always get asked how I made a transition from being a director of operations at a biotech company to cooking on television. So it's interesting, I'll tell that, we'll have fun, but you have to promise if you have a question, you'll ask. I have, look. Nobody move, here it is. I have a microphone so I can come down and put a microphone right in. Put it right in the face. So people can hear the question. I always think it's good when you hear the question and then the answer makes a lot more sense. But just do me a favor. Don't be so shy that you can't put your hand up and ask a question. I mean, if you want, you can whisper it to me, but don't be going home in the car tonight going, oh, Dad, I wanted to ask that one thing. And look, I don't care what the questions are. They can be about me, they can be about how I cook and what my dogs are like and where they sleep. We have two dogs, we have a Havanese and a Chihuahua. The Havanese sleeps on my wife's head and pillows mostly, and the Chihuahua sleeps under the The first night we had the Chihuahua, he's a little rescue named Lewis. The first night we had him, he went right under the covers. My wife went, I thought he might suffocate under there. I go, I think there's enough room, and I think if he starts gasping for breath, he's gonna know to come out, and he does. He'll spend 8 hours buried underneath all the craziest thing. Anybody have a dog that sleeps under the covers?
No, but my name is Louis.
Your name is Louis. I don't want you under my cover. You're the biggest surprise of my life. Tomorrow morning, the covers were ruffling and you popped out. My wife would not be happy with us, so we'll just keep that here tonight. But ask the questions if you want to know them. We'll answer them. It can be about cooking. Look, I'm always encouraging people to cook. That's what you should do. Who can't cook? Oh, so many of you are lying. I know, 2 hands. Thank you, the 2 or 3 hands that went up for your honesty. There's nothing wrong with saying you can't cook.
I can't cook.
So let me try that again. Who can't cook?
No, I didn't. I never
Who just doesn't
How
cook?
can you
Okay, here's a better question. If you're at a table with somebody who doesn't cook, but didn't admit it, put your hand up. Yeah, see? I don't know why people don't cook. People come up to me and go, I can't cook.
I think I heard you.
And they go, well, I can't.
No, I never heard.
I go, here's a question. Can you ride a bike? Well, yes. Of course I can. Of course I can ride a bike. They go, well, look, there was a time when you couldn't ride a bike. They go, right. And I go, now you can. And they go, right. I go, the difference between then and now is practice. That's all it is. If you can't cook a steak because you have to, you're scared to, well, figure it out, find a recipe, follow somebody like me on YouTube. We cook steaks all the time, we cook everything, but it really isn't complicated, you just need to do it. Make it once, if it's terrible, make it a second time, and you'll know what your mistakes were. Alright? So you've already had the edamame wontons. We serve them at our restaurant Gray's in Little Italy. And if you haven't been to Little Italy for a while, you should go. It's about 25 minutes. It's very close. And it has changed and it's really becoming the restaurant part of San Diego, which is great. And now that the pandemic is going away quickly, it's great to see people out supporting restaurants, walking the streets, just having a great time. So, what you're getting next, and these tables here are getting stuff just like that. So you're getting 3 tacos. 2 of them are from my restaurant, Not Tacos in Little Italy. One of them is a meatloaf taco. But one of my, I am a meatloaf fan, and when we started the restaurant, I was telling my partners what my ideas were for tacos. And interestingly enough, none of them are Mexican tacos. San Diego has tremendous Mexican food, really good. from the restaurant in Little Italy to the Mexican
Little
border
Italy.
to the home of the best Mexican food in the world.
Home of the
It's
best
about 20 minutes.
Mexican
So the
food.
last thing I thought San Diego needed was
What's
me
his
bringing
restaurant name?
more
Not-
Mexican
I
tacos.
forgot the
They've got a billion, and they're all good. So mine are not Mexican inspired. So a meatloaf taco you were having. Meatloaf was in, my newest cookbook that you're getting tonight. I think you guys know you're getting a copy of the cookbook signed. I signed 400 of them. Half for you guys and half for
Now you're learning how to cook. Yeah, 400.
They're called book plates because they had the books come here, so it's like a sticky thing that you peel off and you put the book. And this package came one day, my wife opened it, it was all these things. She goes, what are these? I go, I have no idea. And I looked at it and I went, oh shit. She goes, what? I go, I said I'd sign all those books. She better get signing. So you just sit and and I could have just written Sam. Some people, famous people, I don't know who does this, but I'm sure some people just write a first name because they're lazy. I write Sam, the cookie guy. I can't remember which group it was. Who sings Stairway to Heaven? What? Led Zeppelin. Sorry, I couldn't remember. Led Zeppelin, I think one of the guys in Led Zeppelin had a book come out. And at his book signing, he had his books, and he had a rubber stamp with his name. I'm not kidding. It was this. Look at, can you imagine this? You wait in line 2 hours. You get that. I didn't need to go book signing for that. I did a book signing at Costco once, and at the end of it, the guy came up and he said it was nice, and you're kind, and you take time with people, and you write names, and I go, isn't that what happens? He goes, no, Martha Stewart was here a few months ago, and she was at one of those 6-foot-long Costco tables.
Thank you.
That's the only table we have. And there was like a tape line about 6-8 feet in front of that, and the people waiting to have a book signed couldn't cross that line. They just came down this line, and when you got in front of Martha, she just looked up,
Oh my God.
smiled, looked down, and wrote on the skirt, and handed the book, and you just like did this. And then somebody handed you your book, and then you paid for it, or maybe twice a day. I just feel so cold.
Pinampasan tayo.
Which I quite
No,
like.
because that's
I really
different.
do. She's self-made. She had this idea about her show. If you've read any
That's our
biographies
server,
about
the
her,
one that she-
and, nobody believes it or nobody thought that you could teach women in Nebraska to live in a small
She wants to eat
apartment, make
now because she wants to
food and
live.
do flower arranging and stuff like that.
machine is waiting.
Clearly, she's very successful. She's just not very warm at a book signing. Anyway, so I signed these, you'll get them. So the meatloaf recipe is in the book. So a meatloaf taco, a mashed potato taco, which I think is one of the most
This
ridiculous,
is the one I
greatest
like.
things ever. We make them all the time at
No,
home.
because
They're
it's a lot of.
on small tortillas, they're like the world's best appetizers. You've always got mashed potatoes.
No, I
They make
don't.
them in a moment's
No, I
notice.
wash my hand.
They've got crispy potato chips on top. Hot sauce. They're great. And then the other one that's not from the restaurant, but something I found when I was in my supermarket that shares a mall with my taco shop that I like to go to.
No,
I'm
that's
pushing my
different.
cart and I see a
That's
worker from
different
the
server.
taco shop pushing her cart, and she's got about 6 boxes of fish sticks in the cart. I'm like, what the hell are they doing with fish sticks at the taco shop? And I realized they use them for their burritos. And the little light bulb went off when I went home. I didn't make a burrito, but I made a fish stick taco with it that I absolutely am in love with. In love with. And here's a fish stick trick. You can take a fish stick to cook. And you can warm your oven, and that'll probably take you 25 minutes. And it'll probably take 25 minutes to cook. Or you take a couple fish sticks, put them on a plate, and put them ladies. So you take a fish stick, put a couple on a plate, put it on the microwave for like a minute, and they warm up, and they're soft. And then you slide it into like a non-stick pan that's super hot. And in like 3 minutes, you've got perfect fish sticks. Forget the oven. You can do all kinds of things without using your oven. Anyway, so that's what you're gonna have. We have a salmon coming. That's one of my favorite salmons. We make all the time. There's a hanger steak coming. There's one of my favorite things. Hanger steak is this amazing gut that's not expensive, and it's like a cross between a ribeye in flavor and a fillet in tenderness. It's so good. It's so good, and the marinade's super easy, and it's on my website. Anyway, so, and then the dessert thing, you guys can take with you at the end, the but we have to chat and get to know each other a little bit, and yes, sir. No, I don't know where their tortillas came from. Is it a good tortilla? Here's the deal, if the food's great, it's because of my recipes. If the food sucks,
That's what they said. It's very good.
No, trust me, I would not have said yes to my friend Keone if I was not confident that they would do a great job here. And all the food that I saw the first time we did this tonight was great, and they're amazing. So, look, I was one of these people that grew up in life never knowing really what I wanted to do. No doctor, lawyer, teacher, accountant, nothing. I didn't have any idea. And I remember being out with my dad. Oh, it's these two are the problem. Hold on. Yeah, right. Let me take care of this. Hold on. Are we having fun? Yeah. Okay, good. You're just talking a little bit louder. Some of the people. What people? I don't want to point them out because they'll feel bad. But they asked me to come over and speak very nice. They didn't want to embarrass me, so we want you to have fun. Okay, you're welcome. Thank you, guys. I was on the Today Show once with Kathy Lee Gifford and Hope Kotb. It was my second time. My first time on the Today Show, there's millions of people watching, and I was extremely nervous. I believe that one of the hosts I was with could have given birth, and it wouldn't have fazed me. I would have just like stepped over the mother and the child and just kept going. But my second time on the Today Show, once you see what something looks like, you're not nervous about it anymore. And I went back to the Today Show for my second time. And people were like, Sam's back, and how are you? And we're air kissing because everybody's got makeup on, and it was really nice. But I was really comfortable. The first time when I got back to San Diego, my friends were like, dude, they talk so much. I'm not talking about you guys, talking about the host. They talk so much. And I go, it didn't even faze me. I almost didn't even hear it. But now, the second time, now I've got what Bill Cosby, when we all liked him, would have referred to as mother hearing. It'd be like a 12-story house, and kids could be out of their bed whispering at 8:30 at night, and the mother's already, who was that? What's happening? They hear everything. Well, this second time on the Today Show, I was, you're at that point, you're behind the counter, and you're cooking, and I've got Kathy Lee Gifford on the one side, and Hoda Kotb on the other side. And as I'm talking, they're talking. They're blah, 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 blah. And it started to get to me, and I didn't know what to do. And I'm thinking, they brought me all the way from San Diego, and I'm looking in the camera to teach those people how to make this. But these two are making it impossible for this to happen. And just all in this is my wife's concern, I'll just say anything. In 1 millionth of a second in my head, I figured I had to put it into somehow. I didn't know what I was going to do. Until I just said, please, can I talk 1 minute? And they both went like this. And I think if I'd ended it there, it would have been fine. But then I said, everybody says there's a huge problem with way too much chatter back here. And suddenly I thought, I'm the one that says that. Who says there's too much talking? And then they started making jokes about, I hope you enjoy your last time on the Today Show. And that clip's now been watched 2 million times on YouTube. A producer came up to me at the end of it and took me aside. He was taking off my mic and said, I just want you to know, we've all been waiting for somebody to do that. So that was me, and that was okay. And you'd think that they would have thought I was rude. I hope they did it because I wasn't. I did say please. I would have said it to my mother and her friends if it was like that. And these ladies, I said please. but it needed to be said, and I didn't. But they could have said I was rude and disrespectful and never come back to the Today Show again. But I went back 10 other times. Just never with those, always with somebody else. And I will say, regardless of what you think about Kathleen Gifford, every time I went back, she was super professional, gave me a big hello, hugs and air kisses and stuff like that. Hoda Kotb, on the other hand, I think was legitimately like butt hurt. I don't. She'd not been on TV as long as Kathleen Gifford, and I thought she thought I was being rude. Well, the only thing you need to know about me not being rude is that the Today Show had me back 10 more times. If I was rude, they wouldn't have had me back. Anyway. So, about 10 minutes ago, I was saying, oh, I didn't know what I wanted to do when I grew up. I had no idea. Eventually followed one of my brothers into the advertising business. And then we had a frozen yogurt business. And to make a long story short, I ended up selling real estate, not because I wanted to, but because I didn't know what else to do. I needed to make a living. I finally sold a house to a guy who started a biotech company and said, come join me at the biotech company. You can be our facilities manager.
Oh, she's coming.
And I'm like, cool.
That's our thing.
This is good. It's a good change. I don't like real estate.
I thought you
And
forgot
then,
about.
I hated it. I mean, like, when I say I hated it, I mean, like,
Thank
I
you.
hated it. The last year that I was there, I would drive to work happy. I mean, what you see here, happy. I wake up happy. I'm on TV happy. You shoot YouTube, I'm happy. I'm in the restaurant happy. In those days, I would drive to work, I would get there, and I would say the same thing every time, not this effing place again. But I didn't say effing, I said the actual word. And that's a terrible way to go to work. And we all know people that hate what they do. We know people that are miserable but trapped and whatever, and so I would sit with the San Diego Union Help Wanted General section Sunday mornings with my finger going down the alphabetized columns, looking for something interesting, looking for like the hand of God to poke my shoulder when my finger came across the right job type. Accounting, advertising, banking, bookkeeping, candy making, delivery driver, the field test engineer, whatever it was. And what's interesting is that doesn't happen. No hand of God, no electricity, no super fun moment where the words on the page lit up. I was trying to fit myself into some pre-existing job, and I don't know if you've ever tried this before, but it's a terrible idea. You shouldn't. So I'm sitting in my office one day at the biotech company, and I finally go, I'm trying to do this the wrong way. I'm trying to fit myself in this round peg square hole. I shouldn't be doing that. What I should be doing is just, what if somebody came in my office door right now and said, you can go do anything you want for a career. No regard for money, what people thought, anything. What's the one thing you want to do right now? And my answer was I wanted to go back to Tokyo, where I'd been 2 years before with my brother-in-law. He went for work and I went for my 40th birthday present to myself. He was at a convention that week during the day, and I was wandering the streets of Tokyo. And I thought, wouldn't it be interesting if somebody did a travel show that encouraged you to go to places that you didn't think you could go to? Don't worry that you can't read the language or the signs or maybe understand all the food. That's the adventure part, that's the fun part. And so I said, I want to do that. I want to try and start a travel show. So I quit my job. Just like that. 2 weeks notice. See you suckers, I'm out of here. Life's going to be great. I pulled together a little crew. We were getting ready to go to Tokyo and Hong Kong to shoot some demo footage and then come back and put it together. And then I was going to try and go to TV stations and say, look how fantastic I am. Surely you want to put this on the air. And a month before we were to leave for that trip, 9/11 happened. And I always say this thing, telling the story. That day changed thousands of other people's lives, much more significantly than it changed mine. But on September 12th of 2001, I had no biotech job to go to because I quit. I had no TV show to go try and do because nobody was flying, nobody was traveling. And I sat at home. I'm back now on that same couch with the finger. Except now I'm just watching TV. My wife is going to work and she goes, what are you going to do? And I go, I don't know, but I'm gonna figure it out. So I'm watching TV one morning, literally the week after 9/11, and I come across a cooking segment on KUSI. Perhaps the worst cooking segment I've ever seen in my life. It was so bad, it was so boring. The chef was very talented, but he was a chef that's meant to turn out great food. He's not about entertaining. It was very dull, and the anchors were very not good. I want to be nice, but there was nothing good about any of it. And as I watched this, I sat there and went, why didn't somebody do this better? I mean, his goal was to make food that looked good and get people to go to his restaurant. I thought, but what if somebody made food that not just looked good, but looked simple to make? And people sitting at home, instead of saying, honey, let's go there, they'd be like, that looks good, but it also looks simple, we should try that. My wife came home that day and I said, I've got it. She goes, what? I go, cooking. She goes, what happened to travel? I go, no travel, it's now cooking. She goes, I think it's a great idea. What you need to know about my wife is my wife was really encouraging when I said I wanted to try and start a travel show because she knew that I was super miserable. She didn't think it would be successful. She thought I would quit my job, try and start a TV show, it wouldn't work, but then I'd be out in the middle of the ocean and I'd have to learn how to swim. It kind of made sense. She loved me. I mean, she really loved me. We've been married 36 years, so we're doing something right. And that was seriously part of it. She doesn't remember the story like this, but I remember it exactly because it was so impactful. So now she thinks cooking's a terrible idea for part of the same reasons, but then she goes like this, there's just one problem with this. I go, what? She goes, you just can't cook. And I went, well, see, here's the genius part. I will do things that will be so easy, anybody can make it. I'll essentially be my own weakest link. She sort of half bought it, but she had no choice and I had no choice because I had to do something. Called the crew, we shot a demo, it's on my website. It may be in fact worse than that KUSI segment I saw. I was, whatever you see or know or feel when you watch me, even now, I was like this. Hi, I'm Sam the cooking guy. Today, we're gonna make salmon. Now, you take this salmon and you mix these things. And I had like everything all laid out like normally they do on cooking shows. And I don't know who I was trying to be. I certainly was nervous. I think I was just trying to be like every other chef because they were successful on their TV shows. Why just mirror that? And I eventually realized I'm better to be me. We're better to be ourselves than somebody else. Anyway, we made this horrible demo. It was like my Godfather, my Gone with the Wind. It was the best thing ever. We sent it out, and one station in San Diego responded, Channel 6, that then was Fox Channel 6. And the vice president of programming called me, and he said, we got your demo. We'd like to talk to you about doing something. And they had a cook on TV from some other city that shot little segments. So I went and I saw him, and he said, you know, I watched that demo and I really liked it. He goes, no, I really, really liked it. He goes, but I thought you were a little bit weird. And I don't know, what do you do when somebody says you kind of smile awkwardly? Okay, I'm weird. He goes, and quirky too. I'm like, okay, great. I'm weird and I'm quirky. Now what? Oh, wait, how long is this list of complaints going to be? But he goes, but I really liked it, and I got some people from the newsroom and they liked it, and we'd like to put you on TV. We'd like to start doing like a 2-minute cooking segment, because that was my idea. My idea wasn't a half-hour show like everybody else had. It was short segments, they're called interstitials. Minute and a half. They'd come to the house, we'd shoot 3 or 4 of them, they'd go away, they'd edit them, I'd go to the station, I'd look, I'd go fix this, they'd air. One on Monday, one on Friday. And they were successful. Well, we won 2 Emmys at the end of that first year, and that's, you know, not necessarily an indicator of success. It's that people in the business like it, but they were doing well, and then it became a half-hour show. I started making money my second year. My first year didn't make a cent. They did an offer I didn't ask. Second year I made $16,000. By the way, if you're thinking about going into television, think really long and hard about it. Nobody's getting crazy rich off it in the beginning. That's for sure. So second year it becomes a half-hour show, and that wins some Emmys. And we're winning Emmys for this event. It's amazing. And I remember the first Emmy I won. I got there, I was holding it. This is so great. And all I did, I didn't thank crew, I didn't thank the station, I didn't thank my wife. I thanked my lucky boxer shorts, and I wear boxer shorts. I don't know why I said it. It was the dumbest thing ever. I sat down beside my wife, and she goes, "Boxer shorts? Really?" I'm like, oh no, what did I say? I hardly remember. But it was great. We were excited. It was fun. And it was good. Discovery Health came along and they said, would you like to do a half-hour nationwide show for us? I was like, yes, I would love to. And so that was called Just Cook This with Sam the Cooking Guy. And that was my first real lesson about what network executives are like. And here's what they're like. I think they need to justify themselves somehow. And we would shoot, we'd edit it down to close to the 26 minutes it's supposed to be. We'd send it to them, and then we would get notes. And the notes were like this. At 2 minutes and 48 seconds, the camera's on the tomato, about a half a second too long. We don't like the slow zoom over to the whatever. Can you change that? That was annoying. It was really annoying. The last one we did, we went to Hong Kong. We shot 2 half hours in Hong Kong. And Hong Kong's amazing. And there's these things called wet markets, and they're outdoor markets. And they call them wet markets because there's like a big table full of fish and sitting on ice. And they're always spraying it down, and there's vegetables that are getting hosed, and there's meat, and there's everything. It's the most fascinating place ever. And there's this gorgeous pan that my friend Steve Sanders, who was shooting this and editing it, put into it. And in the middle of this wet market, he takes the camera and does this beautiful, slow panorama. And you're seeing everything. It's the action, all the color, and the people talking and shopping and grabbing bags and fish and this. And the executive one day on the phone with us goes, you know, the middle of that pan, we can see a cage with frogs in it. You have to cut that out. I'm like, why? She goes, well, you know, we're part of the Animal Planet network. I go, okay, I'll ask again, but why is that bad? They're actually animals. You know. I go, I don't know. She goes, well, frog death and killing them. And there's nobody killing them. There's frogs in a cage. She goes, we just can't have it. I go, you know, this is like, it's like going to the Sahara Desert and not showing sand. The shit's there. Okay, but we can't have it. And then I said, you know, you're probably right. What would Steve and I know? We only have like 14 Emmys between the two of us. And she goes, you have to mention that? I go, you hired us because you liked our work. Who won, them or me? No, they won. We have to take it out. We have to take that, ruin that beautiful shot. It's like those family wedding pictures that, you know, you see, they're gorgeous. Except something weird with one. It's because like the younger brother who didn't get married had a girlfriend there who's no longer the girlfriend.
Yeah, we're done.
They don't want her immortalized because she turned out to be a witch.
Can I have
Right there. The picture
one more
like
thing?
it's kind of stitched together because they've erased it. Anyway, that shot will bother me for the rest of my life. Anyway. We decided at some point 10 years ago that YouTube made sense. My oldest son that was about to go to law school came in and said, you know, you should be on YouTube, your channel. And because he's young and I'm not, I thought maybe he's got a point. And he goes, and I want to be part of it. I go, what's that mean? He goes, I want to shoot it. We had the Chihuahua, he's a little rescue named Lewis. The first thing we found him, he went right under the covers. My wife went,
3.
I thought he might suffocate under there. I
Text
go,
me. I can go.
I think there's enough room, and I think if he starts gasping for breath, he's gonna know to come out, and he does. He'll spend 8 hours buried underneath all the It's the craziest thing. Anybody have a dog that sleeps under the covers?
No, but my name is Louis.
Your name is Louis. I don't want you under my cover. Be the biggest surprise of my life. Tomorrow morning, the covers were ruffling and you popped up. My wife would not be happy. So we'll just keep that here today. But ask the questions if you want to know them. We'll answer them. It could be about cooking. Look, I'm always encouraging people to cook. That's what you should do. Who can't cook? Oh, so many of you are lying. I know, 2 hands. Thank you, the 2 or 3 hands that went up for your honesty. There's nothing wrong with saying you can't cook. So let me try that again. Who can't cook?
I never
Who
do.
just doesn't?
How can we cook all this stuff?
Okay, here's a better question. If you're at a table with somebody who doesn't cook, but didn't admit it, put your hand up. Yeah, see? I don't know why people don't cook. People come up to me and go, I can't cook.
Oh, I think he heard you.
They go, well, I can't.
Said,
I go, here's a question.
I'm
Can you ride a bike? Well, yes, of course I can. Of course I can ride a bike. I go, well, look, there was a time when you couldn't ride a bike. They go, right. I go, now you can. And they go, right. I go, the difference between then and now is practice. That's all it is. If you can't cook a steak because you have to, you're scared to. Well, figure it out. Find a recipe. Follow something like me.
What he did, he would
We
cook
cook
his
steaks all the time. We cook everything. But it really isn't complicated. You just need to.
He's a good cook.
Make it once. If it's terrible, make it a second time. You'll know what your mistakes were.
Cook down.
Right?
Yeah, that's why she never.
So you've already had the edamame wontons.
For 40
We
years,
serve them
I
at our
had
restaurant
40
Grays in Little Italy. And if you haven't been
It's
to
a
Little
lot of
Italy for a
years.
while, you should
So many
go.
cookies.
It's about 25 minutes from here. It's very close, and it has changed, and it's really becoming the restaurant part of San Diego, which is great. And now that the pandemic is going away quickly, it's great to see people out supporting restaurants, walking the streets, just having a great time. So, what you're getting next, and these tips here are getting stuff just like that. So you're getting 3 tacos. 2 of them are from my restaurant, Not Tacos in Little Italy. One of them is a meatloaf taco. But one of I am a meatloaf fan, and when we started the restaurant, I was telling my partners what my ideas were for tacos. And interestingly enough, none of them are Mexican tacos. San Diego has tremendous Mexican food, really good. From the restaurant in Little Italy to the Mexican border to the home of the best Mexican food in the world.
Home of the
It's about
desert,
20 minutes.
Mexican
So the
border.
last thing I thought San Diego needed was me bringing more Mexican
I forgot
tacos.
what
They've got a million, and they're all good. So mine are not Mexican inspired. So a meatloaf taco you're having. Meatloaf was in my newest cookbook that you're getting tonight. I think you guys know you're getting a copy of the cookbook signed. I signed 400 of them. Half for you guys and half for them.
Oh, now you're learning how to cook. Yeah, 400.
They're called book plates because they had what people thought, anything. What's the one thing you want to do right now? And my answer was I wanted to go back to Tokyo, where I'd been 2 years before with my brother-in-law. He went for work and I went for my 40th birthday present to myself. He was at a convention that week during the day, and I was wandering the streets of Tokyo. And I thought, wouldn't it be interesting if somebody did a travel show that encouraged you to go to places that you didn't think you could go to? Don't worry that you can't read the language or the signs or maybe understand all the food. That's the adventure part, that's the fun part. So I said, I want to do that. I want to try and start a travel show. So I quit my job. Just like that. 2 weeks notice. See you suckers, I'm out of here. Life's going to be great for me. I pulled together a little crew. We were getting ready to go to Tokyo and Hong Kong to shoot some demo footage. And then come back, you put it together, and then I was going to try and go to TV stations and say, look how fantastic I am. Surely you want to put this on the air. And a month before we were to leave for that trip, 9/11 happened. And I always say the same thing, telling the story. That day changed thousands of other people's lives, much more significantly than it changed mine. But on September 12th of 2001, I had no biotech job to go to because I quit. I had no TV show to go try and do because nobody was flying, nobody was traveling. And I sat at home. I'm back now on that same couch with the finger. Except now I'm just watching TV. My wife is going to work and she goes, "What are you gonna do?" And I go, I don't know, but I'm gonna figure it out. So I'm watching TV one morning, literally the week after 9/11, and I come across a cooking segment on KUSI. Perhaps the worst cooking segment I've ever seen in my life. It was so bad, it was so boring. The chef was very talented, but he was a chef that's meant to turn out what people thought, anything. What's the one thing you want to do right now? And my answer was I wanted to go back to Tokyo, where I'd been 2 years before with my brother-in-law. He went for work and I went for my 40th birthday present to myself. He was at a convention that week during the day, and I was wandering the streets of Tokyo. And I thought, wouldn't it be interesting if somebody did a travel show that encouraged you to go to places that you didn't think you could go to? Don't worry that you can't read the language or the signs or maybe understand all the food. That's the adventure part, that's the fun part. So I said, I want to do that. I want to try and start a travel show. So I quit my job. Just like that. 2 weeks notice. See you suckers, I'm out of here. Life's going to be great for me. I pulled together a little crew. We were getting ready to go to Tokyo and Hong Kong to shoot some demo footage. And then come back, you put it together, and then I was going to try and go to TV stations and say, look how fantastic I am. Surely you want to put this on the air. And a month before we were to leave for that trip, 9/11 happened. And I always say the same thing, telling the story. That day changed thousands of other people's lives, much more significantly than it changed mine. But on September 12th of 2001, I had no biotech job to go to because I quit. I had no TV show to go try and do because nobody was flying, nobody was traveling. And I sat at home. I'm back now on that same couch with the finger. Except now I'm just watching TV. My wife is going to work and she goes, "What are you gonna do?" And I go, I don't know, but I'm gonna figure it out. So I'm watching TV one morning, literally the week after 9/11, and I come across a cooking segment on KUSI. Perhaps the worst cooking segment I've ever seen in my life. It was so bad, it was so boring. The chef was very talented, but he was a chef that's meant to turn out great food.
Good job, Shirley.
Beautiful
Thank
film.
you.
Okay, here's what you've got coming in front of you now. So you've got the salmon. Along with the salmon are sugar snap peas and shiitake mushrooms. Two of my favorite vegetables.
one more here.
If I had to choose a mushroom
One more
to
here.
marry, it would be a shiitake mushroom.
Thank you.
I adore them. I eat them all the time. I put them in almost everything. I don't like white mushrooms. I feel bad for them.
Just for my
I know there's a white
sister.
mushroom industry.
Good
I'm not a
come
fan.
over here.
I don't buy them ever. Also is a hanger steak. And the hanger steak, I said, it's a cross between like a ribeye flavor and a filet. And
Oh, this is the ribeye.
It's
Yeah, the
really
hanger
good.
steak
It's
is
got
it.
some cauliflower mash, which, by the way, is a really,
Onions.
really great replacement for mashed potatoes. I love mashed potatoes. We
Mushroom.
have them all the time. I think I make them really well. I use cream and butter, and it's all just a glorious thing. But don't ignore how amazing cauliflower can turn into a mash. It's so good. And you know what? I'm not this vegetarian vegetable person that pushes that on people all the time. I'm telling you, you wouldn't know. Little Parmesan, shredded Parmesan in it at the end when it's whizzing in the however you do it. It's really good. And crispy onions on the hanger stick.
Yeah, this
The
is
marinade is
crispy
super
onion.
simple. It's on my website, hanger steak, marinade. It's balsamic vinegar, it's oil, it's soy sauce, and it's Worcestershire, it's rosemary, salt, pepper, and garlic. That's pretty much it. Marinades are so easy. You can up your whole cooking game like that by changing the marinade, by adding marinade. Make some in the morning, throw it in a Ziploc bag with a steak. 5 hours later, 4 hours later, 3 hours later, throw it on the grill under the broiler. It's just a glorious thing to do. And then crispy onions that
Yep.
don't
This
they
one
work
here,
on
the
like a
chicharron.
steak. They're kind of a no-brainer, and
Crispy onions.
we're a
Here.
fan of those. So, we're doing good so far. We have cooking questions. We have, yes. Wait. Let me use this mic that I asked them to get. Please keep it to the mic.
Just wanted to make sure. No, that's not it.
That's it.
You mentioned in YouTube tomorrow recording, you said chili Rihanna burrito. You said it should be good. Don't you ever try your food before?
It's a good question. So which one? One asks a really good question. Shouldn't you be trying your food and making it before you put it on YouTube or TV or something?
I'm gonna put you on YouTube.
Yes, actually. I mean, maybe.
I will advertise. I will advertise Jamul.
The beauty of the channel is the casual nature of it. Like
The
trying
one
things.
that boxing, they block it.
Like,
I
I know
cannot
chili
do it.
burrito is great. And I know burritos are great. And
Because
I know Mexican rice
I
is
think
great.
the channel, they own it.
So think about it. You can go to a Mexican restaurant.
What
get a
happened?
churrasco, side of
You're gonna be just
Mexican rice.
looking.
There's tortillas all over
No,
the
I'm
place.
not getting it. I'm not eating it. I'm gonna put it in a box.
So I think for
From
me, it's
there.
fun to try things, even in front of people that I haven't done before. And it was only a problem once, really. When it was a TV show, it was pizza day. So I did like 3 or 4 pizzas in a half an hour. And I wanted one of them to be a breakfast pizza. Let me change that. One of them wasn't a breakfast pizza, and I woke up that morning and I went, shit, one of them should be a breakfast pizza. So I got rid of one, and I said, here's what I'm gonna make. And there was gonna be like Canadian bacon on it, fine. Like peppers, onions, fine. Cheese, fine. I put thyme on it. This is early in my career. Thyme didn't work really well. But the other thing is I love a runny yolk. Like a runny yolk for me is everything. In a burger. Like my last meal,
No, you're not.
if I was going to like a chair like,
I hope so.
Sam,
How can you
anything you
take
want,
this?
what would it be? No steak, no lobster, no care. It would be some form of a Benedict. Because
I didn't
love
bring
a
my
Benedict.
box.
The hanger steak you're having now, when we cooked it
it's hanger
on the
steak.
episode a month or so ago, we made it, we marinated it, we made it, and then I cut a whole bunch of it thin and made it into like a Benedict. But that was the steak was the layer instead of like the ham. So I just love them. So I decided I needed eggs on this breakfast pizza. So before it went into the oven, I cracked 4 eggs on it and threw it in. And the eggs came out like this. Just rock hard. No runny yolk. I could have thrown it against the wall. It wouldn't have even cracked. The wall would have probably broken. And the thyme made it disgusting, actually. But I took a bite,
for this.
and shoot for a second and look at the camera and say,
You can
this is a
also do
disaster, don't ever make this and do it. It was good.
Oh, I have
Either
to
way,
ask
it
the
became entertaining.
lady later.
I mean, I'm not intentionally trying to make bad food.
I need
I wanna make
2 bucks.
things that are
I
good.
have 2 bucks. It's
But
in the
this
car.
there's enough of this that I know.
I
that
left it.
It's a good question.
It's the one they gave me from the prime.
Anybody need to know anything? We know, we got it all. Oh, yes, sir. Stand by. I love the shared blanket. That is cool.
Well, how you doing? Good. I wanted to know how long have you been
Do they have boxes? Did they bring them? Okay, that's
Yeah, thank you. So I
Where are
left
the
biotech in 2001. I started cooking in 2002. Only
She
part
told me.
time.
Oh, she said I made it. That wasn't what she talked about.
But the thing is, you know, if you ask my wife what I do for a living, what's your name? Lee? Steve. Steve, if you ask my wife, Kelly, what I do for a living, she'd say,
Sam, the cooking
he
guy.
talks for a living. and I do. I mean, I talk a lot.
Sure.
I talk too much at times at home. The family would just look at me. I go, what? They go, you've been talking for like 10 minutes and nobody has responded. You just keep going. Well, so that's me. When I think back on my time in the biotech company, my happiest moments were when I was in front of the company having to explain something. When we had partners in from another country that I got to take around and explain our technology, what we did, how we did, you know, that.
So, yeah.
I think this is my place. I really do. Like in front of a camera, talking to people, in front of an audience, that makes me happy. I really, really appreciate that you see that. It took me to 40 years old to figure it out. I know, right? You know the craziest thing? This makes me nuts. We have kids, they get to that 17, 18-year-old
I told
age,
them to keep quiet.
and we're asking them to make higher education decisions for something that they might want to do the rest of their life when they have no idea who they even are at that moment.
Supposed to be listening.
You know, the Australians and the Brits and New Zealanders,
He's already coming up.
they do this gap year thing. You graduate from high school, you take a year off.
Remember he coming
I think there's a lot of learning to be done in that 1 year. There's probably a lot of drinking and fooling around and that too, but I do
Is she
think
on the telephone?
it's better than just
Is she on
going
the
straight in.
telephone?
Oh,
My son was ready to go to law
no,
school.
they,
He'd
they,
been
they,
accepted.
they
He'd
have
taken the
bucks.
test.
Where
Got
did
accepted
they
to
get
law
that?
school in San Diego. And he came to me and said, I don't want to go to law school.
Couple bucks.
And I think back now it's
Yeah,
part of
that's
my
it.
son. He shoots
In the
and
bag.
all this stuff.
Thank you.
I think back now,
Could I get boxes, please?
I need 2. Yeah.
he would have been
Give me two.
One more.
Stay.
And a bag. And a bag.
Give me two boxes. Thank you.
Thank you.
Excuse me. Excuse me. Did I get for mine?
I like to tell people you should make one new thing a week. We all need to eat, and we all get in these ruts. You know? It's Tuesday.
said you need to
This is the day we make Aunt Ruth's chicken. Well, that's fine. But
We're not
maybe change it up.
eating.
Maybe
We're
take
rushing.
out
They're
the chicken
leaving.
and substitute something else.
Hey, my friend. My friend.
Try
Hey,
something new.
hey.
At the very least,
Oh,
at the
down.
end of the year, you end up with a whole bunch of
You're
new
leaving?
things that you know how to
Why
do.
you're leaving?
That's a good
Playing? You gonna be playing?
All money?
Yeah. Well, good luck.
Thank you.
Oh, good, thank you. No, I'm just looking, I'm thinking. I'll be rotating it now. That's funny. Cooking questions, anybody know? We're good? Good. So let me tell you what dessert is. They'll bring dessert in a little package for you to take away with you. Thank you. Make the salmon, go to the website, cookingguy.com, find these slow roasted herb salmon and make it. It's a perfect, this is the perfect time of year to make it. Wait, what's this?
Are you gonna? How are you gonna take it home with you? You don't want it? I thought I was just gonna take
Yeah.
it.
Oh, the dessert, yeah. So here's what the dessert
good
is.
steak.
I have a restaurant in Little Italy called Graze, Graze, like what a cow does. And it's flatbreads and charcuterie boards and shareable appetizers and stuff like that. And we only have one dessert. It's a very small kitchen. So we do this grilled donut. It's like a glazed
Grilled
donut.
donut?
Buttered
So I noticed
and
fried
sauteed.
grilled
Serve it
donut.
with drizzle of caramel, whipping cream that has sort of a Grand Marnier-like alcohol in it.
They grill
and,
the donut?
Candied pecans all crushed up over the top. It's very delicious. So the dessert that will come will have a donut, and instead of whipping cream, they made something called crème anglaise, because whipping cream, certainly for the earlier seating, it was too hot and it would have just melted. So this holds much better, and it should be very delicious. I was doing a birthday party private event, and I'm not a dessert person. I don't think about desserts. I never really order desserts. And my assistant Beth said, as we were talking about the lineup, she goes, there's no dessert. I go, I don't like dessert. She goes, but it's a birthday, there should be something. So I thought, what can we do? I don't want a traditional thing. So I went and bought little glazed donut rolls, cut them in half, put a lot of butter in a saute pan, and got them in there and got them all beautiful and golden
We used to make
brown.
donuts out of biscuits. So
And they were
cans of
drinking
biscuits,
sort of with
just
ice
make a
cream,
hole in the
powdered
middle and
sugar,
just deep fry that.
some nuts.
Oh yeah, you
Pretty good. You put a glaze on it.
Play with your food. I think that really is the message. Don't make things the same way all the time. Try something new and do things that you don't think might necessarily work. That's the only way you're going to find out if they do. Experimentation.
Yes. I need to experiment. Experimentation cooking.
I used to do